This guide covers all the actions the Viper learns from level 81 to 100 in order. We go over how each action is meant to be used and recommend ways to use it when relevant. We also summarize the changes in the combat rotation at level 90. In the final summary, we outline an optimized opener and explain how it leads into the general rotation, alongside 2-minute burst considerations. We also touch on the stat priorities of the Viper. I will assume you already know the basics of Viper at level 80, and if not, you can view my Viper starter guide to get caught up. I will also assume you are acquainted with common abbreviations and concepts such as GCD, OGCD, and weaving, and refer to the shorts and videos in the description on the subject if you need a refresher. Now then, at level 82, your Viper sight gauge is expanded with 2 slots for Rattling Coils. When you use Dreadwinder or Pit of Dread, your glaive combo starters, you get 1 Rattling Coil. Rattling Coils are spent with a new glaive weapon skill called Uncoiled Fury, which has an even longer 3.5 second GCD, and does very good damage, especially for an area of effect attack, not to mention, it is also a ranged attack. This means that in an opener, you could use these if there are any raid buffs, and if you get any damage buffs throughout a fight, this is also a decent opportunity to quickly sneak in a potential slight damage gain. But most importantly, if there are opportunities to hit multiple targets, or times in a fight where you have to step away from the boss, Uncoiled Fury can fill in the gaps, which, in the case of ranged attacks, is far better than Writhing Snap. If you have 2 Rattling Coils and haven't found a need to spend any, and you're about to soon use Dreadwinder, make sure to spend one. At max level, it is worth pointing out that Uncoiled Fury is stronger than the Dreadwinder combos in terms of potency per second, with the specific advantage of doing its damage more upfront than them as well. However, at this level, due to Uncoiled Fury lacking interaction with Twin Fang and Twin Blood, Uncoiled Fury is slightly weaker than them, but still has the advantage of being more flexible in when you can use them, and it also beats your Dual Blade combos. In your opener, I recommend using Uncoiled Fury right after you finish your initial Dual Blades combo, expanding on the opener we learned in the starter guide of Dreadfangs, Swiftskin Sting, Dreadwinder, Hunter's Coil, Fang Blood, Swiftskin's Coil, Blood Fang, and a Dual Blade finisher with Death Rattle, now leading into Uncoiled Fury. At level 84, you get 1 extra charge on Slither. This does not change anything for your rotation. You also learn Melee Mastery too, increasing the damage of your Dual Blades combo finishers. This also does not change anything for your rotation. At level 86, you learn the ability Serpent's Ire, which simply allows you to instantly generate 1 Rattling Coil every 2 minutes. This should of course be used on cooldown. This means that in your opener, you weave this right after Dreadfangs, and after the first Uncoiled Fury, you just use Uncoiled Fury again. This also means you can extend your opener with Steel Fangs into your second Dreadwinder without overcapping Noxious Gnash. At level 88, you get 1 additional Rattling Coil slot. This means that you can be even more flexible in when you want to use your Rattling Coils. Just remember to not overcap on them by forgetting about them. At level 90, you unlock the Serpent's Offering gauge and the Reawaken weapon skill. Reawaken has a GCD of 2.2 seconds, slightly faster than a normal GCD, that leads into a combo of 4 attacks that each have a GCD of 2.0 seconds. Serpent's Ire is also upgraded to grant Ready to Reawaken for 30 seconds on use, allowing you to use Reawaken for free once after Serpent's Ire is used. All of your combo finishers are also upgraded to fill the Serpent's Offering gauge. The Dual Blade combo finishers grant 10, where the Glaive combo finishers, both of them, grant 5 each, meaning finishing a combo generates 10 gauge. The gauge can hold up to 100 and is spent in sets of 50 exclusively on Reawaken, which does good damage to nearby enemies and then generates 4 Anguine Tribute stacks in the Serpent's Offering gauge that you have 30 seconds to spend. While you have Anguine Tribute stacks, some of your other weapon skills are changed. Steel Fangs and Steel Maw are both replaced with 1st generation. Dread Fangs and Dread Maw are both replaced with 2nd generation. Hunter's Coil and Hunter's Den are both replaced with 3rd generation. And Swiftskin's Coil and Swiftskin's Den are both replaced with 4th generation. These 4th generation attacks are designed such that the 1st generation does more damage if used first, and each generation that follows in order does more damage if used in the correct order. This means that this burst should be Reawaken 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th generation. which is then performed by pressing the buttons for Steel Fangs, Dread Fangs, Hunter's Coil, and Swiftskin's Coil in that order. Or their AoE equivalents in the same order if you prefer. Of your main buttons, the one that is left out is Dreadwinder. Reawaken functions as your burst mode, and it is certainly not a bad idea to save at least one for use whenever you get a raid buff from someone else, or saving it for the 2-minute burst. Serpent's Ire giving you ready to reawaken also means that saving 50 gauge yourself for the 2-minute burst allows you to use this burst twice in a row for the 2-minute burst. Do make sure that your Noxious Gnash debuff and your damage and speed buffs won't end in the middle of Reawaken. Finally, take note that while the Reawaken burst does not break your Dual Blades combo, it will break your Glaive combo, so make sure to not attempt to do a Glaive combo right into changing your mind to Reawaken instead. Additionally, while it can be funny to do 3 Reawakens in succession, it is almost guaranteed to cause your combo timer to run out, your buffs to end, and Noxious Gnash and your Venom buffs to run out, so I don't recommend this under most circumstances. Since level 80, your Viper side gauge has been expanded with Rattling Coils, which can be spent on Uncoiled Fury, either for a nice damage option, an amazing burst on AoE, or as an amazing filler when you have to go out of melee range. You also got the Serpent's Offering gauge, and Serpent's Ire, which gives you a Rattling Coil, and allows your free use of the Serpent's Offering gauge to use Reawaken, leading into the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation combo sequence. Reawaken is particularly great to use in bursts during raid buffs if possible. Unsurprisingly, these new additions change your opener significantly. You can use Slither to quickly close the gap on your target, then use Dreadfangs weaving Serpent's Ire, Swiftskin's Sting, then Dreadwinder, Hunter's Coil, Fang then Blood, Swiftskin's Coil, Blood then Fang, and then use Reawaken. Then 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th generation, and finish your Dual Blades combo into Death Rattle. Then use Uncoiled Fury twice, followed by another Dreadwinder combo. At level 92, Uncoiled Fury is upgraded to interact with Twin Fang and Twin Blood, just like the other glaive attacks. Twin Fang turns into Uncoiled Twin Fang, and Twin Blood turns into Uncoiled Twin Blood. You should use Uncoiled Twin Fang first, and Uncoiled Twin Blood second, the same sequence as Hunter's Coil and Hunter's Den. Aside from this massively boosting the total damage of Uncoiled Fury, making it actually stronger than the Dreadwinder combo's average potency per second, this doesn't change anything about your rotation. At level 94, Second Wind is upgraded to heal for more. This does not change how you use it. At level 96, Reawaken is upgraded to grant a 5th stack of Anguine Tribute, and Reawaken itself changes into Ouroboros while you have Anguine Tribute stacks. Ouroboros is a glaive attack with a 3-second GCD that hits incredibly hard and is meant to finish every Reawaken burst, meaning you simply add it at the end after 4th generation. This doesn't change your rotation much beyond adding this extra GCD during each Reawaken. At level 98, Feint is upgraded to last 15 seconds. This does not change how you use it. At level 100, each of the 4 generations is upgraded to interact with Serpent's Tail, just like all the Dual Blade finishers. After each generation, Serpent's Tail turns into an appropriately named Legacy to match, which should be weaved immediately. Meaning 1st generation grants 1st Legacy, 2nd generation grants 2nd Legacy, 3rd generation grants 3rd Legacy, and 4th generation grants 4th Legacy. To round off, let's first talk about an opener followed by general rotation, as well as how this works with the 2-minute burst, and finally, let's briefly touch on stat priorities on gear. Let's begin. You can use Slither to quickly close the gap, and then use Dreadfang weaving Serpent's Ire. Then use Swiftskin's Sting, then Dreadwinder, and if you intend to use a Tincture, late weave this here. Then use Hunter's Coil, Fang then Blood, followed by Swiftskin's Coil, Blood then Fang, into Reawaken. Then use 1st generation and Legacy, 2nd generation and Legacy, 3rd generation and Legacy, and 4th generation and Legacy, and then use Ouroboros. Then finish your Dual Blades combo into Death Rattle, and then use Uncoiled Fury, Fang, then Blood, twice, followed by Dreadwinder again. And if you did use a Tincture, use Uncoiled Fury again here immediately, Fang then Blood, and then finish with Hunter's Coil, Fang then Blood, leading into Swiftskin's Coil, Blood then Fang. This then leads to the general rotation. The Viper filler rotation is a lot about maintaining timers and making the most of the downtime. Whenever Dreadwinder is available, make use of it once Noxious Gnash is below 20 seconds in duration. Then use Hunter's Coil and Swiftskin's Coil in whichever order is more convenient. Remember that Hunter's Coil should weave Twin Fang first, and Swiftskin's Coil should weave Twin Blood first. If you're going to generate a Rattling Coil, but already have 3, make sure to use Uncoiled Fury to vent this resource, as they're too powerful to go to waste. Due to Dreadwinder's cooldown being 40 seconds, you can reliably assume that you only have to extend Noxious Gnash with Dreadfangs every second time it needs to be extended. And beyond this, the Viper Sight and glowing buttons should guide your hand as to which dual blade filler combo to perform next. Remember to use Serpent's Tail after each combo finisher. Every 5th finished combo, dual blade or glaive, grants enough Serpent's Offering gauge to perform Reawaken, and since the gauge is granted at the end of the combo, this is also a decent opportunity to consider whether you should use Reawaken. Due to Serpent's Ire granting you a free Reawaken, you have no need for stockpiling any more than exactly 50 Serpent's Offering gauge, as attempting to perform 3 Reawaken bursts in succession is all but guaranteed to both be far longer than any raid buff, but also guaranteed to run out your own buffs and debuffs, which makes the burst a bit pointless. If after having performed 2 full Reawaken bursts there are still raid buffs available and your buffs and debuffs are somehow still fine, you can instead use Uncoiled Fury to keep up the pressure if you want. Remember that the combo for Reawaken is as follows: Reawaken, Steel, Serpent's Tail, Dread, Serpent's Tail, Hunter's Serpent's Tail, Swiftskin's Serpent's Tail, Reawaken. At least in terms of what buttons to press. With Steel being both Steel Fangs and Maw, Dread being both Dread Fangs and Maw, Hunter's being both Hunter's Coil and Den, and Swiftskin's being both Swiftskin's Coil and Den. Finally, for AoE adjustments, on 3 or more targets, simply replace the single target options with their AoE equivalents. Uncoiled Fury greatly increases in priority, more than it already has, when there are multiple targets, due to the impressive amount of damage it does, compared to everything except the Reawaken combo. In less coordinated groups that don't necessarily use their raid buffs on the 2-minute mark, you can be more flexible with Reawaken and aim to use it when you are affected by raid buffs from others, as you have no temporary damage buffs of your own beyond maybe using tinctures. When in a coordinated group that uses raid buffs on time, you should try to make sure your buffs and debuffs will hold for 2 full Reawaken combos, and just go to town on those when it is burst time. Finally, regarding stat priorities, take note that in nearly every single case, item level beats out optimal secondary stats. This means you should always prioritize gear with higher item level, as long as it has dexterity on it. After that, you want as much critical hit as possible, followed by determination with direct hit very close behind. Critical hit both increases your critical hit chance and damage, which means the more you have of it, the better it gets. Determination simply increases all damage you do, and direct hit grants you a chance to do 25% more damage. That scales faster than the crit chance. On average, determination is around 2% better than direct hit, and since they interact with each other, you would prefer to have close to equal amounts of both, with determination slightly higher. However, getting as much critical hit as possible takes priority over both. Skill speed doesn't really provide much for Vipers. It allows you to perform more dual-bladed combos, which hypothetically could lead to slightly more Steel Fangs, and in a long enough fight could lead to more Reawakens. However, the amount of skill speed necessary for this to have a meaningful effect is far too great to be significant. That is to say, you may not need to avoid skill speed, but whatever the case, maximizing your item level and then critical hit still is the main priority. Now, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to support me and my channel more directly, you can become a member like these wonderful people here. You can also alternatively support me through Ko-Fi, link in the description. You can also support the channel by letting the YouTube algorithm know by liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing, sharing, and hitting the bell to get notified when next I post a video. Fun fact, an almost running gag with Viper is how it yoinks features from the other jobs almost blatantly, having Death's Design, Fugetsu, Fuka, sort of Harvest Moon with Uncoiled Fury, and so on. But with Reawaken and the way it replaces both 4 of your main single target and 4 of your main AoE buttons, it seems like it also sort of yoinks Dance's steps in a strange way, with how standard and technical step replaces the 1, 2, 3, 4 combos of both single target and AoE with dance steps.